Welcome back. Do we have something for you today? Do you ever wonder what it feels like to be a champion, become a legend in this league? Well, let's ask a few we think cemented themselves in the conversation of the BBL final history.
We got Zaire Taylor in the house via Worthen, former Leicester Rider and Cup champion in 2013. I know this was a little while back, Zaire, but let's rewind back to this day. What was it like arriving to the NIA on game day?
To be honest with you, getting ready for the game was it wasn't a new experience for me, but it was an experience that I had to do all over again in my life. It was my first time in years being in this situation. And the reality was that I take things so lightheartedly that everything I could do, anything I do could be misconstrued as not taking the game serious. But the reality is there's nothing you could do on your way to the game, before the game, in your layup line that's gonna make you a better player. All that happened the weeks before, the years before, and everything so on and so forth. And that's the way I approach every game. But for some reason, when it's a final, you forget that, and it just eats at you. You're like, oh my goodness, did I tie my shoe right? Did I do this? Oh, did I do this right? Did I do this wrong? Did I leave my door unlocked? You start thinking about things that have nothing to do with basketball, and you just forget to relax. And my first few finals in this league, I didn't have great ones. I had some great teammates, and they helped me get some championships. But it's honestly a feeling that you just got to relax and know that you are who you are. You're here for a reason. Everything you did up to this point got you here. Do what you've been doing, and you'll win this game. And if you don't, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing you tried.
So talk us through what you remember about the game itself.
Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, I actually got to think about this game because I'm remembering a few little moments and all this stuff. So, oh man, Drew ain't gonna like this. Obviously, he wasn't there, but those are his boys. And so my first final, I think, was the beginning of the Cup final, obviously, and it was the beginning of a changing of the guard, I think, where Leicester finally staked their claim as the top dog, or if not one of the top dogs. And they had that year, they signed me, John Fraley, Jay Kuznard, and we were all new to the league, and we were young. I don't know if we were young, dumb, arrogant. we were all of the above, but in the best way possible. And I think that was what was needed. There's times after that year, I wish I was that same young, dumb guy that didn't respect Charles Smith the way I did after. Because maybe it was that made me get the W. And all I remember is Fab Fanoy, a legend, complaining about a call to the ref during the game. And me, and the thing is, I wouldn't have did this in my later years, and just talking to him like he was just some rookie or some, and a little disrespectful. And out of line, to be honest, when I look back, who was I? What did I do? And but I do believe that energy is what got us over the hump. And in that moment, you don't got time to you know, it's almost like Rick Ross says, like, what is that? Where your idols become your rivals. So like he did things that are capable of making him an idol, but in this moment you're a rival. And I do remember, actually, I think I hit the game winner, I think, in that game. So yeah, I hit a big shot. That was one of the few that I made. Because my first few championships weren't my best performances as an individual. Well, the ones I won, actually. But yeah, I roasted. But I did stand up to my name as Big Shot and hit a big shot.
The buzzer sounds off and you're a champion. Walk us through those emotions.
Hold up. You want the truth?
Yep.
Keep it 100, baby.
All right. First championship. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I don't get as excited about championships as I do get devastated about losses. All right. So when that game was established, this is gonna make me sound like a jerk. But there was a girl in like the 5th row. And I was like, when this game's over, I'm gonna talk to her. And we better win. So I can go talk to her. Because if I lose, then I'm gonna be whatever people decide to call me in this moment, trying to talk to a girl after losing the championship. And when we won, I remember everybody celebrating, jumping up and down, everybody was ecstatic, and there was actually like a picture of me walking away, like walking to her direction. And we exchanged information, became friends.
I like it. So after such an amazing high, so you know we've got teammates lifting trophies. You were looking for other things, extracurricular things. What was next following a cup win?
Well, we celebrated. We went to the one of the Mercure Hotel. Was a sponsor. We went there and celebrated and enjoyed the win. And other than that, it was regularly scheduled programming, because I never won a title in season. I played in Holland before this, and I lost in the championship of the cup. So I never won a title where you get that feeling and that joy of being a champion, and then you have to go practice tomorrow and we all know Rob Patnacho get cursed out by your coach, who just don't give a damn about your championship.
He wants more.
Yeah, and it's like, so that was a new feeling, but a needed feeling. Like, we wouldn't have been the team was if we didn't have him and we didn't go through those things. So, but it is for Americans especially, it is so weird to be named champion and go to practice 2 days later.
Love it.
100% facts. We got TJ Walker in the house via California, former Newcastle Eagle legend and Cup champion and MVP in 2006. I know this was a little while back, TJ, but let's rewind back to 2006. What was it like arriving to the NIA on game day?
You know what? It was focus. You know, you've been in Fab's camp, and we were locked in. You know, it was a simple thing is we had a chip on our shoulder for everything. You know, we used to find reason to have a chip on our shoulder. So we went to the arena like that, and we knew that was a goal of ours. We had just won the playoff championship and a trophy the year before. We brought everybody back. You know, I think we swapped out Frank Bennett for John Bryant, and we knew what our goals were, and that was the thing. Our plan was to go win everything that year, and we always said, you know, me and Fab is real close, so the cup is always the hardest one because, you know, you can mess up early in the year because you're just not vibing right as a team and get slipped out of the cup. And that year just all worked out. So when we got there, it was about business. Simple as that.
So talk us through, you know, what you remember about the game. You're the floor general out there. What did you see? What were the sights and sounds of that particular game?
Well, obviously we had just been in Birmingham in May. So, you know, we had we knew how it felt there. For myself, I had got an opportunity to play in a trophy final my rookie year. You know, Chester smacked us. That was a good situation. And but just being part of that, being able to go through all that, those different vibes, because, you know, back then we were probably the only team that played in an arena. You know what I mean? And we went to small gyms everywhere. So we were kind of used to that. But now this is before, you know, the Telewest or Metro Radio Arena was having 7,000 strong. You know what I mean? You know, this was that same year where all that stuff was happening. So we get to the arena and it's go time, you know? So that whole day was really about us locking in and trying to take care of business. This was the first one of our goal. For me, honestly, I was lucky that year. I had 3 killers on my team. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, they got buckets all day, which is, you know, Charles Smith, Jeremy Hyatt, and Andrew Sullivan. And my job, honestly, was to first 6-7 minutes of the game was to figure out who was rolling. You know what I mean? If one of them was rolling, good. If I had 2 of them rolling, you're probably going to get a 20 piece. That's just what it is. So with that, for me, when I got to that day when I got to Birmingham, I was honestly thinking that this was going to be my last year, and my goal for myself was to win everything that I could in the BBL, and this was one of the ones that I haven't won yet. And so I went in with a different mindset. I was like, you know what? I need 40 minutes of all out, just let it happen, and the chips fell where they fell.
The buzzer sounds off, and you're a champion. Just walk us through those emotions.
Honestly, Drew, we had so many goals for that year, we didn't even celebrate. We knew what we was there to do, and that was just a piece. That was the first step. You know what I mean? And it felt good. Honestly, I don't even remember thinking during the game that I had the game that I had until I saw the numbers after the fact. It was just about, we need to get this done. This might be my last time here. So I remember that. I remember the cup, the trophy. There was no celebrations. You know, we weren't done yet. You know, we know what we had set out to do. Yeah, you know how we do. You know how we do. We got on the bus and did what we did. But it was a part of the goal. You know what I mean? So that's what it was.
So, you know, after such an amazing high, you've already sort of talked about right after the game how you've kind of dealt with it. What was next following that cup win? You know, we know this is the BBL, you know, so games roll around pretty quickly. So can you remember much about, you know, right after some practices or some games?
I do, because I don't know what happened, but the BBL set our schedule where we were on the road for like 8-9 games straight. You know what I mean? And we got lucky one road trip. I think we played Brighton and then we played London. I love Paul Blake, but we don't stay in the night nowhere. You come home and then you go back. We was winning. I guess he chose to let us stay the night. We played Brighton. We had to play London the very next night. And this was like at the end of how many straight games on the road. And we had won them all. And the London game, if I'm not mistaken, was the last of that road trip. And it was just crazy. We just ran through the situation at that time. We were just locked in at that point. You know what I mean? Like I said, we brought everybody back. We figured out what we needed to do. Everybody knew their role. There was no egos, so it was easy. It was real easy. So it was just lock in to our next goal. We went from the cup, we get back in the league. Let's go get the trophy now and go from there.
We got Steve Dagostino via New York in the house, former Sheffield Shark legend and cup champion and MVP in 2011. I know that was a little while back, Dags, but let's rewind back in time. What was it like arriving at the NIA on game day?
Man, there's no better feeling, right? To have the opportunity to play for a championship. All the teams are looking forward to. Obviously, you have the end of the year finals, but that mid-season where the season can kind of drag on, but you get right in the middle and you have something really legitimate to play for. So just everybody's hyped up, and also the crowd, right? It's just, it's going to be packed out there in Birmingham, and it was, and you're just ready to roll. I mean, you're ready to roll the day before the game. So just trying to calm your nerves before you get into the big game.
Absolutely. So kind of talk us through what you remember about the game. I think for our listeners, they want to know about the sights and the sounds. And, we know Mike Tuck really well here. We know Coach Lyons really well here. Like, is there anything you remember about the game that really kind of brought some great memories for you?
Yeah, a handful of things. So like, number one, I just remember being in bed the night before and like thinking about the game. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be great if we just like came out, we're up by like 20 at halftime. Like that was, and you're like, yo, it's never going to happen, whatever. And then, cut to going and getting to the arena and just doing shoot around and just looking around and just seeing all the people, the big arena, the space, you start getting those nerves. And I just, we kind of touched on it before we kind of, went going here, but just having Patton in the backcourt, having Tuck with us, having Anderson there with us, like these guys all had won the cup the previous year. So they gave us that calming feeling at Atiba as well, like that calming feel of like, yo, it's a big game, but we got to play loose. We got to be ready to go from the tip. So that was kind of the vibe. I don't think anybody was really nervous. I think we were all just kind of anxious to throw the ball up in the air and start playing.
So the buzzer sounds off and now you're a champion. Just walk us through those emotions.
Man, I was hyped. I was like so hyped too. I've never shaken up the champagne bottle and sprayed it around. And my wife had actually flown in that day. So like she just got in that day, drove up to the arena and stuff. And just to have her there, to watch it and then to celebrate after. I mean, you work so hard. You guys know this. You pour your emotions into every day, whether it's the off-season training, whether it's practice, whether it's every single game. You don't always get a payoff. Sometimes you put in a lot of work and you put energy and effort in, and you guys have an okay season. But to win a championship is something special, and it's even now like 10 years later, and you sit back and you can still feel it, right? You watch the highlights or you talk to somebody about it, and you can still. I'm smiling right now just thinking about it because it was such a great memory. So to go through that with a great club, an organization like Sheffield is, and guys that put in the work with you, there's no better feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, you alluded to it. It's something to look forward to, kind of mid-season. So after such an amazing high, it's not your usual situation where that is the end of the season. What was next following that cup win? Can you kind of remember? Was it straight back to practice? Was there a couple of games on the horizon that you had to get ready for? You couldn't get too carried away.
Right, man. I to be honest, I can't remember. I would assume that we were partying a little bit and soaking up that win. But I honestly can't remember. It's 10 years ago right now. I'd have to, if I went back and looked at like the box scores, I could tell you every single game, like all the different things that happened. But to be honest, like I remember the beginning of the season. I remember like some of the stuff we went through right after the holiday when we got to go home and then came back and we started off a little rough. I remember obviously the cup, that's the big thing that stands out. And then that second half of the season, I couldn't tell you what happened until, we were in the playoffs again. So, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
Back to business, hey, for sure.
Yeah.
2021 BBL Cup Finals. May the best man win.
2021 BBL Cup Finals. May the best man win.
2021 BBL Cup Finals. May the best man win.